vontade. Vai começar? Começou? Ok? Foi. You have a transmission on YouTube, então, gente, obrigada. Boa tarde, obrigada ao Alex, eu fiz com certeza por hospedar essas palestras de última hora. Nós estamos com os pesquisadores visitantes do Met Office Reino Unido, a Clima e a Giorgia, e eles vão falar um pouquinho sobre os trabalhos deles. Então, obrigada. Thank you guys to agree with that. So you have
so for a bit of background, we mentioned in Giorgia from the UK Met Office, and we have been involved with, Giorgia works on a project called Amazon Base. You may have heard of it. It's these big CO2 towers in the rainforest, and they're trying to get the response in CO2 trees more resolved. I work for a long-running project, CSSP Brazil, and have many partners in the UK, and we work in the Sudan in Sao Paulo. But my area of expertise is looking at vegetation dynamics in large-scale land surface models. So the models which are coupled to climate models simulating depth in the 21st century. So I'm very happy to be giving a talk here. I've not seen real rainforests before, so it's good. So for a bit of context, in a bigger picture, is trees matter, forests matter, plants matter, for global carbon cycle. So this is from the global carbon budget from Freedom Studies paper 2023. And basically, forests account for 25% of gross emissions. So it's a huge thing, particularly in the Amazon birds getting off recently. But also, my modelling is concerned by the geophysical feedbacks between the forest and the atmosphere as well. So how can we cover this radiation exchange, momentum, hydrology, transpiration, and it's a lot of uncertainty with the terrestrial carbon sink going into the 21st century. So a bit more about land surface models. So land surface models, they're 4B, but they're coarse resolution. So they're 100 kilometers by 100 kilometers, degrees lattice longitude. And they're across the entire surface, but you can run them more regionally as well. And they're coupled with the atmosphere models, or climate models, to sort of represent the land feedback. Doing vegetation models is awfully complicated. Because I'm very sorry that this is a bit of course, you can't really see it. It's maybe about on it. So there's a lot of processes going on with forests which affect the carbon cycle, which are very uncertain. So you've got the response to CO2 and base resolve. You've got sort of canopy schemes and how that interacts with the atmosphere, nutrients like phosphorus and nitrogen, and what's that one here? Sorry. Forest wildfire disturbances and functional traits that plants exhibit. So they might be drought tolerant, they might be shade tolerant, they might be, deal with fires very well. And these processes operate at different timescales and spatial resolutions. They're very difficult to capture in these large-scale models. And to illustrate this, this is from the IPCC. So this is a big climate collection of models that are projected into the 21st century. And this is a paper by Isabel Parent from Exeter University in the UK. And this is looking at 7 different dynamic vegetation land surface models in Earth system models and a fractal dynamic. So it's all over the place. And the main of this model here is smart grid. It's here. So you can go by that. But we see veg 3 up here as a different implementation of fire. I think it's a bit more crazy all over the place like that. This is an issue partly because of different ways people implement dynamic vegetation in these models. So on the left here, you've got the Japanese model, CEGM, and that is very complicated. But it's a stochastic model, so it represents trees individually. The issue with that is it's computationally expensive. You're going to have to scale 30 by 30 meter patch up to 100 by 100 kilometers. So there's quite a lot of variability being fed through the large scale. And on the opposite end, you've got our model, our land surface model, JULES. And that is basically in your 100 kilometer grid cell, you've got an average plant. So your canopy is the same height, or your mass density doesn't necessarily go through it. Now, recently, well, the last 20 years, but more recently, demographic DGVMs, dynamic global vegetation models, have become more prevalent in land surface models. So this is now looking at the statistical representation of the forest size structure and then updating it mathematically through time. Is everyone following? Good. So this will partition plant number density, so how many plants per meter squared, into sort of patch age classes or size classes. Now our model is called Robust Ecosystem Demography, or RED model. And there's essentially 3 dynamic components of this. Firstly, there's a seed pool. So you work out the amount of net growth going into trees. So how much additional carbon they're adding. And some of that carbon is allocated to fruits, seeds, and flowers. And then that feeds into the gaps, and you get more trees coming through. So it's like a gap dynamics model. The second point is we're using an equation which then takes account of the number density at particular sizes, and you're growing at true sizes like a wave, but you're also reducing the number density due to mortality processes. So, for instance, like windthrow or fire or, I don't know, disease pests. And the final part here, which is, I think, really quite cool, is we can sort of take on the ground data, in situ observations, and fit allometric equations for our plants within the model. And like over the last 20 years, we've gone from a very very simple representation of dynamic vegetation, to the point where we're talking to people like him for places where we can have more than this conversation. And make use of observations, more detailed observations. So if you're interested in the mathematics of it all, so the top equation is the recruitments, so it establishes seedlings. The middle equation is called the problem pack equation, and it updates number density through size. And the last equation is some very simple allometric equations we use in the model. This is the animation.
Oh, charming.
Yeah, I'm going to skip this animation because I think it's going to cause me issues. So what do all these equations mean? I've got a toy individual-based ecological model here of the length column, and essentially you're trying to capture this dynamic. So the orange line here is red. The top right panel is the number density of trees through tree max, and down here you've got number density, coverage, mass density in kilograms of carbon per meter squared. So that's divided by 10 for tons of carbon per hectare. And then you've got mean deviation. But the idea is you're trying to, once you go up to a large enough scale, some of that variability goes away. So this is 250 meters by 250 meters. And each is a grid cell going from 0.1, 0.5, 1 hectare up to that level. So the idea with this model is you're trying to capture the subgrid heterogeneity at large scales. This is an example of a regional simulation for South America. It's a 400-year spin-up, so we're just repeating until we get into an equilibrium state. And this is a new thing that we haven't really been able to do in our climate models before. So we've got an explicit number of trees. So this is time along the x-axis. This is biomass. This color map here is the number of trees per meter squared. And you can see there's some really nice, very pretty vegetation dynamics going on here. The reason, so this is at the end of 400 years of simulation. We get an overestimation of biomass and cover, partly because the model is still being developed and we don't have land use and fire fully covered into it as of yet. So we overestimate stuff in this case. Now, I don't know if I'm talking on it, but I'll carry on. So this is maybe making use of some of the rainfall data, not all of it apparently, because I've been missing a few sites before it's popped up notes. I'm sorry. It's not one of the mouse, is it? I don't know.
It's up.
Yeah, I fixed it. So I've been processing this data along with some other data sets of woody tree density, linking it with species, and also comparing it to crown area and getting allometric relationships for these tropical trees across the Amazon. And we've now taken our large scale model and we've fitted these relationships, and we can use these allometric power laws in the model to get the right physical responses and other things. carbon allocation based on your height and crown area and DBH. This is my second last slide. Another big new thing is we can also now take that PDF we've got from the model and see how well it performs relative to the relevant data set. And I think we do a fairly reasonable job. You can't really make it out, I'm sorry, but MNT 03 is at least best between model there. Some comparison there. So in conclusion, demographic DGBX has been developed and better linking the top down and the bottom up, basically, which is really a nice thing to do. I've already said that. Yes. And these are very much a demonstration of some preliminary comparisons against observations against RED dynamic vegetation model. And just briefly on a few other things. Thank you very much, Flavia, for having us around. It's been great. And if you're interested in this sort of stuff, Renata Maria from Italy and Anna Bradley from the Met Office sort of have this early career group that links UK and Brazil partners, young people just starting out their careers, and it's a place where we sort of talk about presentations, sort of language, papers, opportunities, a whole bunch of stuff. And if you're interested, they help. They generally organise usually time zone sort of periods, monthly meetings. With that's my presentation. I think I've overran by 50 minutes. Some things, but yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. So, I don't know if we. Não sei se a gente faz duas perguntas e move para a Giorgia, ou se a gente já faz Giorgia, depois faz todas as perguntas.
Quick question?
Quick questions. Maybe quick questions now, just one and two, and then after Giorgia, we can have more discussions.
Remember the topic. Yeah, so, yes, thank you, Flavia. So my question is, I just was wondering if you could say a little bit comparing what you do in the canopy and this with some of the other sort of ed-based DGBM implementations. Like, yeah, I'm just curious what you do in the canopy. You know, FADE has this whole thing where they assume that the canopy is closed, and ed2, a lot of the work in ed2 went into figuring out how to implement like radiation transmission. Yeah, I'm just curious, like, it just broadly, can you say something about what distinguishes your new ed effort with those other ones?
So I think the acronym is actually a little bit naughty, and I think you put plain Peter Cox on that. Yeah, robust at the end. But in terms of the canopy thing, scheme, so we have a modular canopy, which calculates photosynthesis, which is dependent on obviously this law, but they estimate it's basically a big leaf model, but they estimate photosynthesis at each AI going down to lower incident radiation. In terms of closing the canopy, you might have been able to see it here. If you fill up the grid cell, no recruits can come through, so you get cohorts of individual.
That's your size structure demographic rate was kind of blurring out.
Yeah. Yeah. So one thing which red doesn't have compared to base or ed is I consider it as one-dimensional cohort model because you're only considering the marginal distribution of masses. But ed, my interpretation of it considers a joint distribution of patches and size.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're resolving some of the subgrid horizontally, I guess.
I'm not sure I don't know. How did you explain it to start because it was much better than me. So if you can say more easy words for people who are not modelers, what is the main difference between, let's say, phase and this model? So what are the things that you are trying to improve with your models? Why do we use your model?
Why do we need red? Because I should have mentioned that compared to base, is from what I can tell, it's a bit simpler. It's a bit more easy to integrate with large landscape models. Yeah. So there's a parsimony to it. Sorry, that's a big word. There's a simplicity to it. If you're only considering mass.
This makes connected for a larger area, have more computational power for large areas. How do we gain?
So you sort of you don't make so many assumptions necessarily with patches. So you imagine you've got an age distribution of patches. At some point you've got to merge them. Otherwise you're got like back memory, I guess. I don't know, that's pretty a good answer. But you should have seen the model in JULES before, Fred.
Something improvement in JULES.
Yes.
And then, what is the green size?
The ring size.
Green size were simulations
It's your grain special.
So this is 1.25 grids. It's got 96 grid cells on the Lomba equator. But I've done some site-based simulations. The benefit of landscape models is you can run it at a latitude longitude point with observations, specifically with city observations, which Giorgia will go into a bit.
Okay, so
Sorry.
second one. Okay.
It's just that I got curious about something. Is it a local model that you apply on a local scale and it's trained on a local scale? How do you ask this uncovered?
It can be either scale. So if you've got a grid system, we run it in the UK. In the UK, that's 10 kilometers resolution. I've done a few runs at sites, and I've run it globally as well. It's a global simulation, but it's focused in.
So it doesn't actually include uncovered dynamics.
It's
Deforestation. Fire.
yes. So it's a new model. It's very much in development still. So I'm getting land use change in for October. I should have delayed my trip maybe for a month. There are plans to get more processes such as disturbance and land use change, gross land use change. So your boundary, your land, forests, that sort of stuff.
Also highways.
And highways, yes. So the way it works in JULES is you've got like an urban fraction, you've got a proper pasture fraction. But we need to link those two bits more.
Okay, thank you, Marco. So we can move before Giorgia now.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. So we are just in time. So it's the only thing that we need to do afterwards. It's here. So
Yeah.
everybody can wait a little bit for here. Just 10 minutes, maybe.
So you have species of favorites.
Yeah, it's like in the first year when we started, yes, we used to have the beer. Yeah, so, but then
It was too short.
it was too short. It was just for meetings, I think. Thank you.
I was my name is Giorgia. Relatively recent addition to the Amazon project. And I'm probably know what science I'm talking about. But yeah, so I've been working on trying to improve our modeling capabilities for the Amazon Space Project, and site simulations and having the options. One of the options I've added is model of optical stops. And then I've been running some site simulations for the LPA sites to test how it's behaved. They are very early simulations because it doesn't want to be clear. So, what is SOPS? SOPS is the worst acronym to remember. It's the model optimization model based on silent hydraulics. It simulates speed, small reductions or responses to body plans. And it incorporates advances in concept blocks, optimality theory into visual science search. Optimality theory is a very simplified way of modeling these hydraulics for our very coarse model. So, JULES. So JULES is the Joint UK Land Environment Simulator. It's a land service model which models the interaction of different land service processes. It allows users to assess the impact of modifying different processes on the whole ecosystem and use both a standalone model and the land service components in the web. This is one reason it has to be quite coarse. It's because it is in both operational level forecasting and the production schemes and then chemistry. And so the old processes you have going on, the more detailed they are, the slower model is, and then you don't get 24-hour forecast in 24 hours. Also, JULES-RED is used for global climate research, and again, if you have time, you'll detail what it is, the slower that is. So it's not very good ecological model because that's not really what it's for. And so a lot of these projects are simplified down as much as we can without using detailed details. So I ran dual simulations at Filter and LPA sites for several probability configurations. So I have JULES on its own, JULES with some stands on, and then one of my colleagues asked, can you get the same effect? Just give it a bit of support. So I tried doing that in the sorry, yes. What is this? The third option? One of my colleagues asked, will I not get the same results with giving the model a bit of support? So adding a deep soil layer so that just all the stays in the model. So, and then I looked at these results against observational data. So these are the calculations I'm using. So there are a mix of woodland evergreen forests, mixed forests, woodland savanna, and then some national sites. So I've chosen this graph. It doesn't have the most details of data, but obviously it has these gaps, so it's easy to see. So big blue line here, that's pulls on its own. And you can see it massively overestimates the drop in GDP when there isn't a drop, it goes up in the observational rate, which is flat. So subs is here in green, and abnormal water is here in the purple dashed line. The yellow dashed line is the trying subs and the water at the same time. So I can see subs does improve it more significantly, and it's trying to follow at least the pattern of the line better than just having more water. So it's showing some improvement, it's still not getting the seasonality.
Sorry, just let me see if I understood. The deeper the soil, more water.
So it's more that how we model this, I'll get to example how we model the soil moisture is bad. It drills. And so once water falls out of the soil column that we modeled, it's gone. So it's not including the connection. So it gets water, it's this piece. So he still gets to use it. And so deepening that soil layer and letting it continue to use the water as it falls through the longer improves somewhat. So this graph scared me because the first time I saw it, I thought, oh no, it's made it worse. And then I realized that this was a pasturing problem site. Salt is very specifically for woody plants, and there aren't many of those on pasture sites. So this was actually fine, but it's going when I saw it the first time. And then one of the other outcomes I found interesting. So for making tea look specifically, adding just a deeper water column and having more water did far better than salt did, and also better than the dual line down did. I suspect this is because we are missing some of our modeling for soil evaporation to make it look. So if anyone has anything soil evaporation based they would be found to use it, we'd love to explain that better. Because I think that's what's going on. So in summary, SOP shows some improvements in the overestimation of the EPP sensitivity to soil moisture, but it is limited by soil moisture being fully modeled and several other below ground processes being fully modeled. So we all look at those. Here is the hydraulics I work with Bentley at CH. Is working on modeling the soil hydrology data, so that is similar to what I was doing, but more physically realistic than just driving off water. So the next step is Sam Jones of the University of Exeter is working on SOPs 2, which should be able to use the more realistic sets of dual viewer. And then we're looking at expanding simulations to other sites and large scale models, which is really what our model is about. And I personally was working on getting to those below ground simulations, but so I'm working on the cost specification first. So thank you for having us. Flavia for both making the arrangements and checking out my quality translation one of I did have one on the postgrad that we made, but translated postgrad was disgusting practice. So I didn't want to repeat that.
Gross, because so the joke is gross primary productivity is produtividade primária bruta. E ela colocou no pôster dela, e aí saiu no Google, produtividade primária é nojenta. Because gross também é nojento em inglês. So yeah, so.
My translation of my as you often think for PhD expression, so many different scientific terms that I do not understand. And then
Thank you, Giorgia. Speaking about water,
Can I start?
of course.
Do you mind going back to your slide showing improvements?
it's
So, I mean, it's 2 forward from there. 3 plots. The 3 plots. That's next one. Yeah.
the next box, yeah.
So I mean, my first reaction to this is that there's no improvement at all in the correlation. Right? So if you correlate that various seasonality, you haven't gotten any better. And that's very interesting because you are doing something that clearly should be making the model more realistic.
So it's producing the sensitivity, but not producing seasonality.
Yeah.
Expect on seasonality different processes causing seasonality. Is that when it's the dry season, you get more sun, you get more photosynthesis, and so increases for farming productivity. And that process clearly has some issues about people.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is you probably don't have a canopy model that's reflecting leaf methodology processes here. And so, I mean, the main thing that probably explains the correlation error, as we've seen in, the ensemble models, basically, is that none of them are doing leaf flocks where you have different productivities at different ages of leaves.
Yeah, but definitely that is what we're going on.
But there's also going to be crosstalk to what goes on in the soil there, because it's just going to be different fluxes and different dynamics of the product too. So, is that like next? That's like another subcomponent.
So that will get there'll be enough development. I don't know if anyone's talking about
Yeah.
for sure, what you expect to try to model or expect in this case, 67 is really a very large plateau, so you have basically the same forest structure and the water is really
Sure.
yeah. So maybe improving the soil, that is enough. But for other sites where you get much more variation in the short scale, such as around here, so parts of your area might be very high, parts very low topography, and so the moisture in the soil, the access to the groundwater will make much more difference. And perhaps improving the soil profile is not enough. Yeah, because then you get other processes of improvement and some moments here, but water excess and other moments of failure that both may change the results. And
Basically,
this is kind of
groundwater needs to go in there,
Yeah.
probably. Right?
Groundwater definitely needs fixing, or we explore a lot of other processes that are not modeled in a realistic enough way. Yeah, we have been discussing with some hydrologists to try to go over these in terms of getting the correct parameters to help improve the models. Some people in Germany, some people in the US, and they agree, and there are several demonstrations from professional work of fun showing how much the seasonality of sites that workmates do have access to their water depends on this access that improves much a lot of the productivity and the consideration when we couple this region of soil. It seems something that necessarily needs to go there.
Pergunta, gente, em português que a gente pode traduzir. Não?
Só onde está certo.
Everybody's dry now. So I don't think so. I think that no questions anymore. Do you have questions, Arthur? Because you were like.
Eu acho
Thank you.
que seria útil toda a pessoa que foi contar, porque elas estão aqui por saber o meu conhecimento e por desenvolver os contatos. Sim, dizer o que está fazendo elas vão saber compreender, contar, ou procurar informação, fazer
Yeah. Teams, it's suggesting to reintroduce to you guys. So there is.
porque nós conhecemos
Yeah,
eles, mas
but not the
não
people.
está sabendo quem está aqui.
Oh, yeah, we can do that. Maybe, yeah, that's okay.
Me first.
Yeah, we want to.
I'm gonna ask you the first question. My name is Scott Stark. I'm a professor at Michigan State University in the forestry department. Work here currently a big project with Flavia and other people doing a bunch of stuff about forest function over water table depth gradients. I'm interested in canopy structure and function too, and work with LiDAR and estimating forest growth rates and dynamics and stuff. As well. We have our infrastructure in this project is kind of interesting. We have towers in the Dookie Reserve, here at a plateau site with a glacier site. Those are currently doing phenological measurements. We know the phenology controls the most capacity of the canopy. So you can actually recover that just from watching phenology, basically. So we can contrast water table depth dynamics are related to these geological processes. And then a new tower 300 kilometers south of here in an area that's very underrepresented in measurements in the Amazon, which is a shallow water table depth, alluvial or goosegreen soil site, which has relatively consistently shallow water tables throughout the year, and represents something like 25 to 50% of the Amazon, but like less than 10% of the measurements made in the Amazon. So we are asking for money to put that equivariance on that stuff. So can you use stuff with face? You know, in my PhD, I really wanted to work with the ED model with the LiDAR connection. I think that there's really strong opportunities to take a size structure, reconstruct the size structure dynamics using the, what do they call the Fokker Planck mass balance type demographic flux equation. So I've been interested in that for years, but I never got around to actually doing the model. I'm very critical of how the Bates model does the canopy. This we should talk about this in years.
Presentation, really fantastic stuff you guys are doing. My name is Leonardo and I'm in Scott's PhD student. And pretty much very interested in the same things as he is, and plus I have a particular interest which is solar use fluorescence. So I've been working with this since the beginning. Again. Right, yes, yeah. That's pretty much it.
Podem falar em português também, então, se quiserem falar em português, a gente traduz. We have a diversity of jazz here.
Also, I did my master degree here, and now in a technician project. It is
Pode falar em português, tudo. Mas o que é seu maior interesse? Qual é o seu mestrado, que é super legal?
My master's was in hydraulic traits. Correlation network to understand how traits are connected.
My life is hard. Pode falar. You can translate that? Can you translate that?
Yes.
She's finishing her master's here in ecology. Yeah. Mas que bom que você veio. Yeah. So she's interested in to understand what people are doing, so she's here just like curious.
Okay, I'm flattered too.
And she was my advisor, PhD advisor. Shara, yes.
Yeah, so we have been working together, and for a long time we are interested in this influences of groundwater and the depth to this water source or forest functioning, forest structure. So we are trying to get these solved in many respects, from plant traits to chemical structure to phenology, monitoring of the environment itself, sand growth, and hopefully at some point carbon flux and covariance. And across some sites so far, what is very close to here, and what is not working, here's the one start mentioning.
Yes, this is quite challenging to actually build a tablet.
Yes, we can tell you it's a story. It's a very long story.
Or did we actually
Yeah, but it's done. We managed after lots of headaches.
Yeah, Elijah was calling português.
Sou de Simara, trabalho com antropólogos, trabalho em agroecologia, trabalho com agricultura familiar, agrosistema. Então, os termos que envolvem floresta, dinâmica da floresta, dança ecológica, me interessa para entender também os processos de mudança, onde tem agricultura, onde tem o processo de ocupação do solo. Então, quando eu digo o termo, fora dos autores, muito obrigada.
You and me.
He was with agro forest working out how to get food forest and saying changes are related to the process. How you can diversify the produce that you get. So you've got people who historically had only been producing more food, which obviously has problems if there's a drought or your crops. Then you have to separate crops producing and then the year you've got production of year round that's like one crop happening more people to but she's kind of interested in everything that gets on
this is building resilience?
Yes, in the system of agriculture and basically support having more food produced by families, so small
Non-industrial scale.
no, exactly. So we're gonna see in the beer the
Is it
Yes, not the farm beer, but it's in the same place that the people are selling the products from the family agriculture. So you're going to see that.
Okay, I will try to explain in English, and my pronunciation is not very well, but I will try.
Try them.
I was on. What?
Try them for Portuguese. Okay.
I was on a full-time job, so I came when it ended, so I gave this in the end. But it's nice to reach for job. And I'm in the ending of my master's degree, and I worked with soil recovery with green vegetation. Something like in the same line with juice. We work the same, not too bad. And that's it. Insurance.
Yes.
Agora você se fala em inglês, Spanish. In Spanish, I praise you.
Silvio não fala português.
I'm known my name is Giorgia. I work with the Human for the Respostas. I really enjoy presentation.
So in Alex.
Hi, Argles. I am a biologist from Peru. I can speak Spanish, Portuguese, Portuguese. So, in English too, but I prefer Spanish. I'm part of the CSSP scientific dissemination group that we understand. There, it was part of the CSSP group, and now it's also another student of college. I am here in college with master. Doctor, I want to work with mammals all my professional life. I work with mammals in this that with the datasets. And I am postdoctoral fellowship. That's all.
So Alex didn't mention that during his PhD, he also works to understand how the mammals fauna could impact the dispersal and recovery of forests. And he was working with these metrics of plants, types of vegetation or something like that. Yeah. So in like farms and also in forests, yes, of mammals, and the importance to the ecosystem service of the mammals, ecological service of the mammals to the forest recovery. Yeah. So said that, I thank you again, guys, and let's drink beer. Obrigada, gente, pela presença. Arthur não colocou, mas eu posso depois compartilhar o QR Code, na verdade o link para quem quiser se juntar a esse grupo do Early Career Science. Quem quiser me procura, que daí